God says, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ إِلَّا مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. Okay? Previously, there had been mention of the women, the categories of women that are prohibited, that are forbidden for us to engage in marriage with, that we cannot go into marriage with. So it has been aforementioned quite earlier, those that we cannot even venture into marrying them, let alone establishing the institution of legal marriage with them. So if such marriage will be Islamically binding and accepted, then this category of people are to be avoided in marriage. So wal muhsanat, in the previous one, Allah had said all these categories that he has mentioned, illa ma qad salaf, except what has gone and passed. The bygone is bygone. Mashallah, Allah is ever forgiving and is ever merciful. That goes to show, that is a pointer to the fact that Allah had earlier concluded that verse, that prohibition, that category of impermissibility, illegality, illicitness of the women, categories of women that we cannot marry. Allah had earlier concluded the discourse. But it came to once upon a time after that had been concluded. That is why we have illa ma qad salaf in Allah. That shows that that has earlier been concluded. Then there was an event of a return from a battle. From a battle, one of the holy battles in Islam that Muslims engage in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So then they came to ask the Prophet concerning some of the women that have been captured, some of the women that have been brought into captivity, into slavery in their dominion, under them, that what do we do with them? There are some of them we feel, some of them, they are married, they are quite married, whereas the Quran has said that women that are married, you should not go close to them. So they came to ask the Prophet, whereas Allah has brought the inspiration, the revelation to Prophet Muhammad beforehand. And Allah now said, referring to what had earlier been partially concluded, saying, wal muhsanat minan nisa, the muhsanat, from the word hisnu, protection, someone who enjoys the safeguard, protection of another being, be it a supreme being, be it a spiritual being, be it a human being. So Muhsanat, he enjoys the fortification of somebody. So that person is muharrama. It is maharama. That is that the person cannot be approached by just anybody. It has got, she is already engaged in marriage with somebody. So even from the word hisnu, which means fortification, fortress, protection. Some prayers in Islam are meant for hisnu. They call it hisnu Muslimin, and so on. That is, they are fortification. When you invoke this prayer, this supplication, they fortify you, they safeguard you, they keep you in perpetual protection against external forces. So muhsanat, ahsana yuhsinu, ihsanan, muhsan is in the objective case. Somebody that has been protected, that has been safeguarded, that has been engaged with. Okay, he has been fiancé, and the fiançailles has been concluded. That is, the dating has been concluded. Okay, and mashallah, shukran jazila. Wa fi hadhihi al-hala, in this case, here nisa. So it brought muhsana. Okay, and the jamu of muhsana, we have muhsanat. So that is saying that women that are already under the umbrella of a man, that are fortressed by a man, that cannot just be approached by any other person, is just out of the women, are also included. They are inclusive in that category of people. Yes, muhsanat min an-nisa, they are also there. Though that one has been concluded, but now we are adding to it. So the prophet now told them that this is what Allah has brought. He now read it to them. While muhsanat min an-nisa, also in that category is women that are married. Adatul istisna. We call it adatul istisna. It's an article of exception. So to every rule there are exceptions. They call it qaida la budda min al-istisna. So every rule has exceptions in it. So the exception herein is illa ma malakat aymanukum, those who fall under your possession. Milkiya is possession. Milkiya is possession or dominion. So that is why in Arabic, if you have Malik is a king. Malik is a king. Malak is malaika. Milk is possession, dominion, owing of something. Yes. So imtalaka shay'an, malaka shay'an. Then to have dominion, to have power. Maliki Yawmiddin, the owner of the day of judgment, the dominion of the day of judgment, the king of the day of judgment. So in essence, whether you are the king or you are the possessor of something, what you do is you have dominion, you have control over that thing. Like I saitara ala zalika shay. So illa ma malakat aymanukum. Ayman, from the word yamin. It may be your hands. It's called the hands in some interpretation. Yamin also goes for oath. That is, you take oath when you do yamin. Al-bayyina ala man idda wal yamin ala man ankara. Al-bayyina, someone who is a plaintiff, is to give explanation, is to give reasons, evidences, to come up with evidences. Wal yamin, and the evidences against alaman ankara, or for someone who is a defendant, who is defending, we now come with oath, swearing that this is so or that is not so. Okay, but commentarily, literally in Quran Tafseer, so it has been agreed that mamalakat aymanukum, those who you possess from war, those who are slaves under you, under your custody. Shukran jazila. So those who are under you, they fall under illa ma malakat aymanukum, those whom your right hands possess.
You have power.
So, this category of people, you have power over them. So those ones too, they fall under that exemption. So you can also, those ones too. Okay, those ones fall under exemption. You can marry those ones. Kitab Allahi alaykum. It is Allah's decree, Allah's ordinance, Allah's order and decree on you, Allah's legislation on you, that you do that. Those that have been prohibited, you don't go close to them, and those that are permissible, that are allowed, you make do with those ones. You marry those ones. So, Kitab Allah alaykum, that is the ordinance of Almighty Allah on you. Kataba there also means, does not mean writing in that case. Kutiba alaykum siyam, that is, it has been written, it has been ordained on you. So that one is an imperative, is a command. Kitab Allah alaykum. Or they also translate it as Kitab Allah, following the Kitab of Almighty Allah. That's another interpretation thereof. Following the Kitab of Almighty Allah, this is what has been legislated by Allah for you to follow. وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ. So, anything outside the brackets, other than those things that have been mentioned earlier in the initial discourse, and these additions to it, wal muhsanat, the married women, anything other than that, uhilla lakum, they are permissible, they are allowed, they are lawful for you to marry them. Okay, ma wara'a dhalik, in a manner of speaking in Arabic, ma wara'a dhalik. Somebody, if the Quran had said ma wara'a dhalik, is correct, because is addressing many people, jamu mukhatabin. So he now put ma wara'a dhalikum, ma wara'a dhalika, ma wara'a dhaliki, ma wara'a dhalika, ma wara'a dhalikum, ma wara'a dhalikunna. Those are correct in Arabic. Ismail, Ishara. So those are correct in Arabic. That's why we will see somewhere to say tilka, it does somewhere to say tilkuma, and so on. Talking to two persons, tilkum, many people. So that's the manner of speaking, but it's meant for Arabic grammarians anyway. And tabtaghu, and for you to pursue, for you to desire, and tabtaghu, ibtigha is to long for something, to yearn for something, to desire something, and to pursue it. Bi amwalikum, bi amwalikum, with your money, with your possession, with your property. So that one, be amwalikum, with your money, with your property. muhsinin, that is muhsinin is adjective of manner in that way. Hal, it is called hal in Arabic. In which way are you doing it? Muhsinin, you are doing it, muhsinin, trying to protect yourself, trying to be chaste. You want to guard your chastity. That's why you opt for that option. That's why you go for that option. You are trying to protect your chastity, your modesty. That is what your morality, your ethics, that's what you are protecting. You don't want to go immoral or amoral. You don't want to go immoral or pretend to be amoral. Because grammarians have told us that to be immoral is, you have a sense, you have a consciousness of morality, but you choose not to go, you choose not to do it, you choose not to follow it, you choose not to abide by it. So, that is, in that case, you have a sense of it, you know what is good, you know what is bad, but you decide to go for what is not good. Al-halalu bayyin wal-haramu bayyin wa baynahuma umurun. So, but you have opted, you have chosen to go for the wrong one. You are immoral because you know the one that is moral. But is amoral is specifically, particularly meant for animals, non-living things. Animals, living things that do not possess mentality, that do not possess high sense of psychology. So, animals, they don't even know whether it is right or not. They don't even know in the first place. They are amoral. So somebody that does not even know, that's why you cannot hold them responsible. They can't be held accountable for anything they do. You will see a cock just growing up, and this is the mother that has just raised it, Sometimes you will find it becoming the husband of the mother and is mating with the mother. You will see a goat, and they do outside like that. It's becoming the husband of its mother. They are amoral. They don't even know in the first place. So, and tabtagu bi amwalikum an tas'a ilay bi amwalikum an tatlubu bi amwalikum an targhab ilay bi amwalikum wa an tatma'u ilay bi amwalikum. You desire it, you seek it, you solicit for it with what you have. And the purpose thereof is to be chaste, is for you to guard against Gero Musafi, committing fornication, adultery, Musafihin. So Musafaha will be adultery, fornications, sexual immorality, and so on. So, Gero Musafi. So that's the way you are doing it. It could be hal, and some it could come from maf'ul mutlaq. Maf'ul mutlaq. Maybe maf'ul mutlaq. Darabtu darban shadid. La. Maf'ul li ajli. Mansub. It is maf'ul li ajli. What you are doing it for the sake of it. It is maf'ul li ajli. So muhsinin and maf'ul li ajli. Gayra musafihin, so that you will not fall into the pit of fornication. Famastamtatum bihi. Istamtatum. Istamta is to enjoy. Tamata, istamta. Ana astamtu bi other barnamij. Ana astamtu bi other tafsir. Bitakdim other tafsir. I enjoy this tafsir. I'm enjoying. So whatever you enjoy is tamta. Tamata will be other.
Whatever you enjoy.
So what you derive enjoyment, you derive pleasure. Muta, you derive pleasure from something, then anta testemtin will be. وذلك المعنى لغوي. هذا معنى لغة تقول استمتع enjoy. ولكن استصلاحا technically in that terminology, technically in Islam, Islamic jurisprudence,
To acquire pleasure.
yes, mashallah. Istamta, muta, it comes from muta. Muta in ordinary Arabic will mean pleasure. Pleasure. But technically in Islamic jurisprudence, Islamic law, pleasure is a concept on its own. It is a concept, okay? There is what is called muta, the marriage of muta. In English, literal English, you just put it as contract marriage, muta. So that muta is a kind of marriage that is contractual. It is time bound. Okay, when a man and a woman meet, they decide to establish a union for a period of time. In Islam, for mashallah, okay, and when people do it, yes, to get residence and so on. But in Islam, in Islamic history, it has happened in Islamic history, muta, that was even allowed by the Prophet for some crucial, critical reasons that befell the Muslims thereupon. The men had followed Islam and they were away from their home, from their country home. They found themselves wandering and they've engaged in jihad, striving in the cause of Almighty Allah. And you know, as a matter of nature, sometimes they may feel to get themselves relaxed with women. So to avoid bestiality, the act of a beast, immorality, people that are calling to Islam, that you people come and join Islam, this is the right way, this is the proper way, and they find them chasing women around, going about doing zina around. No. So to curb that, it was temporarily made lawful for them. The way the law of the rule of alcohol taking was initially made lawful in Islam and was later prohibited. So this contractual marriage was also made lawful. Yes, find women, and there are men here on this side. So the women too are desiring, those women too no husband, they have not found any husband, or women that are even in that land that are daughters of the soil in that land where the Muslims found themselves. They do not have men, and these men too, they are desirous of women. So what do? It was allowed that you go into marriage. That kind of marriage is called muta. It's a contract marriage. الزواج بالتعاقد يسمى بالزواج زواج المتعة أو الزواج المنقطع أو الزواج المدة. So there are many nomenclatures, but that muta is the basic name, is the technical name for it. So in that muta now, it is the marriage between, so that is what this istemtatum is referring to. Because there is, and when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam now told them that enough is enough, it's now prohibited, it's now unlawful, no more accepted in Islam. Allah, Prophet Muhammad says, Ana kuntu, qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam fi hadith sharif, Ana kuntu adhintu lakum nikah al-muta, that before I had permitted you to engage in muta, that contract marriage. For the time being, shukran. Wa anna Allah qad harama Allah inna Allah qad harama ila yawm al-qiyamah. Allah has forbidden it. Ila yawm al-qiyamah, till the day of judgment, is no more permissible, is no more lawful, no more legitimate. So that contract marriage is a controversial, has now become a controversial concept in Islam. So the Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, whom qad haramu, they have kicked against, they've condemned it absolutely in totality. But there is a sect of Islam that is still practicing it, considering it lawful, considering it Islamic. The Shia, go to the Shia that we call Shiite in English. Yes, they permit it and they are still doing it. And when they find themselves in some occasion, even some that travel from somewhere to somewhere, they will do muta, contract marriage, instead of you to go and be looking for women here and there, marry you and you. They join them. And that muta. So that hadith says, Inni qad kuntum adhintu lakum fil istimta'. That's why this is istimta'. Fil istimta'. This is istimta'. I have permitted it for you. I have allowed you to go ahead with it, to be doing it in the past. But henceforth, till the day of judgment, Allah has forbidden it. That muta, it is marriage between man and woman that is done as a contractually, yes, as a contract for a period of time, and both of them la yatawarrathu zawjan, adum al-akhar. So the two of them cannot inherit each other. They cannot, like in the conventional, lawful, legitimate marriages granted by Islam. So if upon the death of one of them, upon the demise of one of them, yes, one can inherit the other. But for muta, if Al-Qiyamah comes, Al-Qiyamah baba lórí ẹ̀.
That's period. That's time.
No inheritance. And it is also one of the principles of it that there is no obligation, there is no responsibility lying on the man towards the woman. That is, the man is not obliged, is not obligated to provide for the woman in muta. It's not compulsory. If he has, he does not. If he does, so okay. Okay, now wama minuna fatuuna ujurahuna farida. Then in that hadith, the Prophet now proceeded saying, it is forbidden till the day of judgment. Faman kana minkum shay'un min unna. Anybody who still has in his possession, in his custody, any woman of such, فَلْيُخِلَّ سَبِيلًا. فَلْيُخِلَّ سَبِيلًا. You should liberate her, free her, liberalize her. Give her her due freedom. Let her go. Otherwise, or if you will not let go of her, then what do? Give them ujurahunna. Give them ujurahunna. Give them what you have. Give them their dowry. Yes.
Compensation.
Yes. In the hadith, they had earlier, because some of them, they had affairs with them. They paid them that ujur. They paid them that ujur before they brought them, even while in the battle, when they had possessed them. For them to have access to them, they paid them, because it is an it's an Islamic injunction. It's not the type of what you do and you say, after all, pay them their dues. You now go out to one of these bagaya. Arabs call them bagaya, prostitutes. You have an intercourse with them, you now pay. No, it's not that one. No. You know, after all, they say you pay them now. When you are paid, it becomes lawful.
You are free.
No. Bakaba. What I can know, so I was So it is not that you are doing it to run away, to avert prostitution, to avert immorality, to avert fornication and adultery. That's why you engage in it in the first place. So that is the difference. That is the difference. It's not that you go there, after all, I see the girl, I pay her. Is it not to pay? When I to pay, it become lawful. Okay. So you give them their dues. Farida, it is compulsory. It is mandatory. It is an obligation. You cannot run away from it. It is inescapable. If you must go into this marriage, then you cannot run away. Otherwise, you are committing zina. If you give birth to any child, it is child of zina, child of prostitution. Is the product of prostitution, immorality. So, if you have the intention of averting this, you want to eschew this, you give them their dowry, as it is accepted worldwide, that a man will pay mahar or sadaq to a woman. They call it dowry, although there are some definitions in English. But there are some culture where it is the woman that pays. There are some few cultures in the world, in some societies in the world, whereas it is the woman. The woman is obliged to pay to the woman, to the man. You pay the man. So, but that is uncommon. We have countries, it was practiced in Kenya, I don't know whether it's continued, India, and some countries outside Africa, like I think Australia was mentioned, Sri Lanka and so on. So, but general principle, that is in the world. It is, you see, it is said that there is a philosophy that the world cannot be wrong. The world cannot be wrong. The whole world, if the whole world, in fact, Prophet Muhammad said, Barakallahu fi fikratil Jama'ah. Even if a Jama'ah, a congregation, is making a mistake, Allah will put barakah in the step they are taking, because the step is, it is a decision unanimously taken by the generality of the people. So, al-Jama'ah nadira ma taqta. It's not common, it's rare that you go astray, that you commit mistakes. So when you see, when somebody dies, everybody knows everywhere that it's 6 feet and you bury the person. Everywhere in the whole world, you know it's a general principle. So praying the woman is a general principle across all cultures, across all boundaries, across all frontiers, across all nations and nation states and communities or ethnicity or ethnic and all tribes, all religion. Thank you, sir. So it cuts across, giving it the credence of universality. That is, it is universally acceptable, universally correct. So in essence, Farida. So yes, it is Farida. It is a divine imposition, a decree, divine imposition from Almighty Allah on you. Okay, so it goes further to say, Wala junaha alaykum. There is no blame. La tulam. There is no blame. There is no responsibility on your part to pay. Fima taraidaitum. There is no offense on you. You have committed neither criminality nor deviance, nor offense. It is Junah alaykum, la junah alaykum. So you have not deviated. So because in social science, we have been made to know that there is difference between criminality and deviance for social mashallah, offense mashallah. So deviance. So people who are social scientists will know from the Karl Marx of this world and so on. So you are not a deviant. A criminal offense is an offense against the state, against the law, against an established law. So if you contradict a statutory position, statutory injunction, then you are liable to being a criminal. But if it is a norm, if it is a custom, if it is a tradition of a community of people, if you have gone against it, if you have deviated from it, then you are a deviant. You are simply a deviant. So it seems saying, La junah alaykum. You are neither a deviant nor a defaulter, mashallah. The grammarians are with me here. You are neither defaulted, you are neither deviated, and nor have you committed any offense. taradaitum, tarado, tafa'ala lil musharaka bain al kathir. Bain al ithnain or bain al kathir. It is
Mutual agreement.
yes. So tafa'ala. So it is a common practice. It is a collective act done by two or a group of people. They will now use that tafa'ala. It has two meanings. The other meaning is when you pretend to do something. Tanawama is pretending to sleep. Tanawala. So ممكن أن تستيقظ النائم ولا ممكن أن تستيقظ المتناوم. Òwe Yorùbá ni mo. It is a Yoruba proverb. Ẹni sùn là á jí, a kì í jí ẹni tí ń pirọrọ. Al-mutanawwim ẹni tí ń pirọrọ. So tafa'ala, taradaitum, bainakuma, between the two of you, either taradaituma. So if the two of you mutually, cordially, reciprocally reach an agreement. If you reach an agreement, after the farido, there is farido. Now, this farido now, because it's repeating in the Quran, is repeating it as farido, farido. And there is a proverb that says if the blacksmith is hitting the iron on a spot, then that means there is something significant, something particular about that spot. So this farido, obligation that is mentioning, that means there is a stipulated obligation. It's not arbitrary. It's not haphazard. It's not anyhow. It's stipulated. It is fixed. It is precise. For example, mathalan, the dowry, the sadaqi that we pay in Islam, it has a fixed amount. It is calculated every year. It is calculated yearly in the international currency of dollars. So it is based on the denomination of dollars. So dollars is not being calculated. It is calculated worldwide. There are some scholars, there are some international scholars that will meet from all over the world, from all over the Islamic world, Arabic world, and some Islamic scholars carefully, meticulously selected from across the world to partake in that session. So they take all those decisions as to new Islamic rule. There are some things about which Islam is silent. Islam has not been very, Quran is silent, rather, Islam is not silent. The Quran is much silent. The Prophet Muhammad explicated upon it, yes, he enlightened upon them, but there are some that were not available, that were not in existence in the period of the Prophet. So how do you go about? And they are in vogue now. They are in vogue now in the world. When Prophet Muhammad was alive, we were not using the aircraft to go to the Saudi Arabia for Hajj. There was no ATM, there was no internet, there was no the social media. There was no all this that has made life easy, that has facilitated our livelihood by the white man, had not been invented. So when anything Islamic is to be passed, any judgment Islamic is to be passed around such phenomenon, how do you go about it? It is not expressly mentioned in the Quran. So that's why in law, there are some they call express expressions. There are some are implicit. Ibaratu dimniya. Badua ibaratu dimniya. Wabadua ibaratu sariha. Some are expressed. They are clearly, categorically mentioned and explicated. Some are equivocally, oh mashallah. Some are equivocally or equivocationally or ambiguously explicated. So how do you go about it? Some scholars, modern, contemporary scholars, sit over such questions, such issues, such topics, and they fine-tune Islamic ways and solutions out of it. Farida. So, for if you want to know the standard amount for this year's Sadaki, you will know it's calculated already. So even if you go on your Google, you'll get it for this every year because of the depreciation of currency, of money in the world. So it evolves, it is developed every year. It is augmented, it is improved upon every year. So Farido, down is fixed. So he now said, Fima taradaitum, you are not accountable, you are not negatively accountable if you had gone beyond, if you had exceeded the Farida. Taradaitum, mutually, reciprocally agreed upon by both parties. If both parties have agreed, then you can, with your consent and with your ability, but silently too, you may go below. But it's not the topic for today. If you also, if the two of you mutually agree, you may go below. Yes. So, mashallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Hakima. Allah is a philosopher. Is wise. Allah is the most wise.
All-knowing.
Or you say is the wisest of all than every other being. Is wisest than every other being. So Allah knows us, is the one that created us. He is a philosopher. Philosophy created by Almighty Allah, which is the root of every knowledge. Every academic endeavor comes from philosophy. And Allah is the grand philosopher. And the meaning of philosophy is the love of wisdom. The love of wisdom. So the originator, the creator of this, alladhi khalaqa al-falsafa, huwa abul falsafa, huwa law. Huwa sahib al-falsafa, huwa abul falsafa. Huwa khaliq al-falsafa. Is even the grand creator of that philosophy that has expanded, that has evolved into every branch of knowledge that we have today. Everything came from philosophy, and it's ramified into all that we have today and that we all grapple with. We all occupy ourselves and we preoccupy ourselves with today from Almighty Allah. Allah says, He is Hakiman. He is the root of everything that you possess. He knows everything. Aliman is all-knowing. He is the master epistemologist. That is the science of knowledge. So Alim is the grand scientist. So when you call people, because the meaning of ilm is either knowledge or you call it science. So the science that has brought about everything that we use, the microphone that is amplifying our voice, the camera that is projecting us worldwide, every other thing, the digital world that we are, the globalization that we found ourselves, everything therein in the world has been programmed by the Alim, the chief scientist, Ilm. Science, ulama, scientists. So if we check dictionary, it will give us ulama as scientists, because everything coming from philosophy through science gave birth to every other thing. So Allah says He is the owner of philosophy, grand philosopher. He is the grand scientist. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Apology for our late.
يا رمضان ذكر وتلاوة يا رمضان يا رمضان